Welcome to Sitting with Sallie. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, wine. My guest is Simo Lazreq from the Juliana's Boutique Wine, and we have wine.
Sure do. Here you go. All those kits are available for anybody.
So Simo, why would someone think about making a wine kit rather than just buying a bottle from the liquor store?
Well, it starts with the experience. It's a wonderful experience to do. Wine, it's easy to make. And with the kits that are available on the market now, you end up with really good product, consistent, and you can enjoy it as soon as 4 weeks from start to finish.
And I don't know if it was you who said, but someone said when you're making wine, try and buy the best you can afford from a kit. What is the difference in the kind of kits?
With the kits, they have a juice concentrate, and more juice is in the kit, better it is. More juice means more body, more flavor, more alcohol as well. And also the different varietals, there is some heavy varietals, there is some light varietals, and depending on what you like, it's very personal. So there is no rule for wine.
So talk about varietals. What's a varietal?
A varietal is a type of grape or a blend of juice that wineries use to make wine. It could be a single varietal, which is juice coming from a single type of grape.
Like Pinot Noir?
Like Pinot Noir or Cabernet Sauvignon or Merlot. One single type of grape in that wine. Or you can have a juice that have multiple varietals, which is a blend, they call it.
Like a Merlot Cabernet.
Like a Cabernet Merlot, for example. That's one of the most popular blends out there. And also, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, so you talked about Pinot Noir, Merlot, and Cabernet as varietals. What's the difference between each one?
Every varietal got a profile, which is the flavor that you're gonna have when you have a sip of the wine. Cabernet got a really authentic profile to it. It's very upfront. You can definitely know when you have a Cabernet.
And so a Cabernet Merlot, the Merlot will soften the Cabernet a little bit?
Yeah, Cabernet, usually it's a red wine, a little bit spicy. Got tannins in it, and I'll talk about tannins later. Merlot is softer, not as much spice, not as much tannin, easier to drink, fruitier.
Okay.
When it comes to the profile.
And then Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir, one of my favorites actually. It's not on the heavy side. Pinot Noir is a light red. It could be medium, but I never had like a really heavy Pinot Noir. Usually Pinot Noir is considered one of the noble grapes. A noble grape is the first grape that start everything. So from Pinot Noir, they kind of mixed, crossed it with other grapes to come up with different varietals. But it's one of the noble grapes. It's very
And what
particular.
about in white? So you have different varietals in white wine as well?
Yeah, white wine, as I say, you can have anything from Pinot Grigio.
One of my favorites.
Which is Italian style white, very light, crisp, fruity. In France, they call it Pinot Gris. In the United States also, Oregon, they call it Pinot Gris. And it depends on the region it grows in. So certain regions, they call it Pinot Gris. In Italy, they call it Pinot Grigio. The other ones that are available, also there is Sauvignon Blanc, there is Chardonnay.
And those two are very popular white wines.
Those are all dry white wines. Pinot Grigio, Sauvignon Blanc, and Chardonnay, they have a dry profile. They don't feel as sweet as other ones.
And if you wanted a little bit sweeter in a white wine?
What if you want a little bit sweeter of a white wine, you can go towards a Riesling or a Gewürztraminer.
And are those both German style or German white wines?
Riesling and Gewürztraminer, they're German style white. They're not only made in Germany. You can find a lot of California Riesling nowadays. You can find California Gewürztraminer. You can find Australian Gewürztraminer. It kind of took over the world now. A lot of wine regions, they do Riesling and Gewürztraminer.
So, for example, Riesling is made from what grape?
From Riesling.
And if it's grown in Germany compared to California, what is going to be some of the differences in the taste?
The differences is the varietal of Riesling that they use to make their wine. Because Riesling, there is not only one varietal. There is different varietals of Riesling. And
you keep drilling down into more and more detail, yes.
yeah, and I'm not going to go over them.
No.
But what I can tell you is the German Riesling got a really special profile. It got more floral aroma than the California one. But that's not a general rule. I've had some really good California Riesling in the past.
Okay, and we've got out here different kinds of wine and a few other things maybe you'd like to talk about, because I notice over here is the brew house.
Yeah, so as wine, there is beer. So if you can make wine, you can make beer as well. And brew house is one of the products that it's available here in Kenora to buy, and it's really easy to make. It's exactly like wine. Pretty much you have a kit that have craft juice made from grain with no preservatives. So it's a very high quality juice and as easy to make as wine.
And about how long does that take?
It takes about 4 weeks from start to finish, from the time you start your batch to the time you bottle. And then you gotta wait for your beer to carbonate. If you do it with CO2, it takes about a day. And then your beer is ready.
And also you can make cider, I see.
Yeah, cider is another product available. Just like beer and wine, you do it the same way. And then you can enjoy it either regular cider or carbonated cider. Yeah.
So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I'll ask Simo to talk to us about some fruit wine. Welcome back to Sitting with Sallie. Today we are talking about wine, which is a wonderful subject. And Simo, I wanted you to talk to me about the two fruit wines, I think Niagara Mist and...
Orchids Braising.
Yes, what are they?
Okay, so Niagara Mist is a line of fruit wine that it's very popular. Got a lot of flavors. They're ready in 4 weeks. They have about 7.5 liters of juice. And the product is very good. It's
They
very
seem to
popular.
me that they would be good for summer light drinking.
Yeah, it's like a fruit wine, you know, nice drink on the patio, even, you know, during the winter, you know, holiday season. It's very popular.
You're pretending that summer's outside.
Either outside or inside.
And what's the Orchard Breeze?
Orchids Braising is just another line of fruit wine. They have different flavors compared to Niagara Mist. They kind of complement each other when it comes to flavor.
And there's one with lime in it?
Yeah, there is Orchids Braising and Niagara Mist. They have a flavor that have lime in it. Niagara Mist, they have a spiced lime wine, which is very out of the ordinary. It's a lime-flavored fruit wine with hot pepper finish at the end. Very, very pleasant, nothing overwhelming. The Orchids Braising, they have another lime flavor, which is infused with coconut.
And that's one of the ones that I'm going to be making.
That's right.
Yes,
yeah.
very excited about that.
Very nice. I like it a lot.
So if I come to you first time and I say I want to make wine, but I don't know exactly what I'm looking for, what do you need to know about me as a new person coming in to make wine?
Well, I like to know what you consume as wine. Like when you go and shop for wine, what do you like? What do you buy usually? And if that's what you want, I'll make it for you.
Okay, so and for me, I do like a Shiraz.
Okay.
So what kind of things what does that tell you about me?
Well, it tells me a few things. That you like red, you like spicy red. Shiraz can be light or heavy. And then I'll ask you more questions and what kind of Shiraz you drink. And then once I know, I can recommend a kit for you that's going to satisfy.
And when you're saying light or heavy, what's the difference between, if you want Shiraz, a lighter Shiraz compared to a heavier Shiraz?
So a light Shiraz, you will pick a 4-week kit that have not as much juice. 7.5 liter, 10 liter, it will be a light Shiraz. If you go with a 6-week kit or an 8-week kit with grape skin, you'll end up with a bolder Shiraz, more spice, more body.
And it's going to have much more fuller mouthfeel.
That's right. Yeah, better experience, better finish, more alcohol, better color, deeper color, usually.
Okay, so you're able to personalize wine according to people's taste then, I'm presuming by what you're talking.
Yeah, there is a few ways to personalize the wine the way you want it. Oak is one of them, especially for red. I know there's some whites that come with oak, like Chardonnay. But reds usually, most of them come with oak, and oak gives a lot of character to the wine. Give some sort of an Asian taste to the wine
And
without aging it that much.
And where did the idea of oak come from?
The idea of oak, it comes from back in the day, they used to age it in oak barrels. And now the companies who makes the kit, they mimic that oak aging by adding oak chips to the wine before fermentation.
And you happen to have brought some oak,
I did,
oak
yeah,
chips.
I
So
brought-
it's not just one kind of oak.
No, there is different type of oaks depending on the region they come from. They give different flavors. Okay, so this one is a premium American oak. Usually, it's used for Cabernet Sauvignon. You can use it for Shiraz. It's just pretty much plain sawdust. It got a really sharp taste, and it's not heavy. It's one of the light medium oak. They call it premium American oak. It's from North America.
And one of these darker ones would be a bit heavier. Oh, that's elderberry.
Yeah, those are elderberries. I got this one here. That's the one that's my favorite. There is two that I like, and I use them a lot. Medium American oak, which usually it's used for Merlot, Chilean Merlot, American Merlot, and it's as I say, it's medium.
And this one is darker, the heavy French oak.
This one is the heavy French oak. They use it for some of the French varietals. Also, stronger, bolder reds. They use heavier oak.
And what's the difference between a wine that is oaked and one that it isn't?
Usually, oak gives the wine a little bit of sharper taste. You get that. Depending on the type of oak you use, you get different flavors that the oak brings up.
So flavors you might not notice, it kind of enhances it.
Enhances it with the oak. One of them is the vanilla. Usually the oak brings the vanilla up in reds. if there is a varietal that have some vanilla flavors in the profile, oak will bring them up front, kind of maximize the flavor of the vanilla.
And how do you learn to tell what the different flavors are when you're tasting wine?
Well, you look for tastes, just the taste you know. It's not a science. It's you taste a wine, and you look for fruitiness. You look for a little bit of what do you taste? What your tongue kind of picks up from the wine, and then the first thing that you get usually on your tongue is that spice. You get the mouthfeel, you get the spice, and once the wine is swallowed, then you get the finish on the tongue, and it lingers. And that's what the finish is. Usually, for Shiraz, for example, the finish is spicy. For a Merlot, the finish is fruity. And that's, yeah.
Makes me want to have a couple of glasses.
Yeah, definitely.
And now you were talking about personalization with oak. What other things can you do to personalize wine to suit different tastes?
Well, the other one that you can you add to the wine to achieve different result is yeast. Some varietals they react differently to yeast. There is a yeast that everybody uses for winemaking, and it's pretty good. But if you're looking for a different profile, you can definitely choose a different yeast that will bring the fruit flavor up front. Some of the varietals, they use different yeast, not all of them, but it does help, brings that fruit flavor up front.
Okay.
The other thing that you can do to personalize your wine is blending. If you like something like a wine that comes from 2 or 3 different varietals, you can blend it to achieve that result.
And you play a bit with blending.
I do. There is blending before fermentation. Means you mix 2 or 3 types of juice, and then you ferment them to end up with a 3-blend wine. Or you can make a single varietal wine, and then when the wine is done, then you can blend percentages to achieve that, what you're looking for.
Okay, we're going to take another short break. Please come back and learn some more interesting things about wine. Welcome back to Sitting with Sallie. I'm sure many of you are thinking, why should we make wine? Why make wine, Simo?
Why make wine? That's a big question. People look to save money first and before everything else. The second thing is the wine. They like the wine they make. It's a great experience, and it's easy to make. And the results are consistent. And that's why people make wine from kits compared to from grape, because making wine from grape is labor intensive and it's messy.
Yeah, it's messy.
So that's a big reason. And also the quality of the wine you end up with at the end, it's a much superior wine.
And it's fun.
It is very fun. It's very rewarding.
It's a new hobby that I'm enjoying.
Yes.
So when we were off air, you mentioned Baco Noir.
Yeah, Baco Noir is actually one of those varietals that people don't know much. It's out of Niagara Peninsula. It's 100% Canadian, and it's a single varietal. Myself, I discovered this varietal a couple of years back. Once I had, a bottle from the liquor store, and I liked it. And the supplier that I work, the company that I carry, they came up with a new kit, which is a Baco Noir from Niagara, and I tried it and I loved it. And then my next step was, is it good enough to win something at the competition? So I sent one of my bottles to the Winemakers Magazine competition in United States, and I won gold with it, which was very surprising.
Which is excellent, and there's a bit of a backstory there because you sent several bottles, but it was the only one that made it through the border.
That's right. Yeah, it was one of my other shipment didn't make it to the competition, but
So-
the Baco Noir did.
So what does Baco Noir taste like?
Baco Noir is not your conventional red wine. People who like Merlot and like Cabernet. What can I say about Baco Noir? My experience with Baco Noir, it's either you love it or you hate it. And the reason why, because it's a full body red. It got a pronounced notes of vanilla, cocoa, spice, and sweet smoke.
And it's that smoke that's a bit different.
I think the smoke is different for people. Some people don't like that. And also the vanilla. It's overwhelming. But there's one thing I can tell you about Baco Noir. It goes perfectly with grilled meat. Anything, barbecue, hamburgers, steak.
Anything with a bit of smoke in them.
Smoke, grilled. It will just complement any type of meat grilled. And it's a full body and got a nice spice to it. So it's not overwhelming. It's just perfect.
And
Love it.
What is a bit of a history of the Baco Noir? Where did it come from?
Baco Noir, was discovered by François Baco in France, and then it made its way to Canada, and then they started to growing it in Niagara Peninsula, and that's the only region, one of the only regions that grow a lot of Baco Noir. There is some Baco Noir in BC, but not as much as Niagara. Niagara has the perfect profile.
The terroir.
Le territoire, yeah, to grow Baco Noir grapes. And there is some wineries in Niagara Peninsula that are they have a really good Baco Noir. Pile Island is one of them. There is some Baco Noir blends available as VQA wines from Ontario. Yeah.
And not today, but soon we are going to actually make some Baco Noir.
We are. I can't wait.
And this is what's going to be.
This is the kit that we're going to be making. It's a Cru International Baco Noir from Niagara Peninsula, which is a 12-liter kit with grape skins, ready in 5 weeks.
And you said the skins earlier. You said the skins add a depth to
Yes.
to the juice.
The skins they add body, they add color. You get a deeper color. They add a little bit of tannins to the wine, and also spice. They add character. I find a wine with grape skins just thicker, deeper in color, got a better finish.
So it will, once it's made, how many weeks? Sorry.
From start to finish, 5 weeks.
And then you have to let it sit. Once it's bottled, you have to let it sit on the shelf for a while.
Well, it's totally up to you. Not everybody age their wine. As people know about wine, is you can drink it young or you can drink it aged. For sure, aged wine tastes better, but some people don't have that patience. So you can. I think that Baco Noir is ready to drink maybe a month after you bottle it.
Okay.
It's
And-
not a...
And aging kind of smooths the flavors out a bit.
Aging will smoothen the flavor. It won't be as spicy. It will mellow out, and it will bring that profile up front.
The underneath comes up more.
That's right. You got more flavor, more stuff to look for when it's aged.
So it's going to be very exciting making this.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining us and talking about wine. I suspect that we could have gone on for much more.
That's right.
And I hope people enjoyed this, and it will encourage you to learn more about wine and maybe start making some.
Definitely.
Please tune in to another episode, and we will be making Baco Noir so you can see how it's done. Until next time.